at the designs for the cities, they conserve energy. They don't pollute. There are no cars. They're a different way of thinking. They go along with the resource-based economy to be able to produce abundance. Today, architecture is really monuments to architects' egos. They're not social architecture that Jacque proposes. So Jacque can talk to you a bit about the city, and you can take a look at them on our website, thevenusproject.com.
I suggest that you look at them and then form your views. First, to get the information of what the Venus Project is really about. Don't try to project your own values. It has nothing in common with communism, socialism, fascism, free enterprise. Totally different system. Look into it.
Absolutely. And have you guys seen any of there's a number of new cities popping up, primarily in places like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, etc., Masdar City. There's a few of these. Is that anything that you see as promising at all, or do you see it's just an upgrade of the current system that we already have, so to speak?
Expansion of chaos.
Yeah, and a waste of energy.
For example, in Dubai, every building is a different size. They built a big desalination plant. I said, what do you do with the water? He said, we have a water park where people slide down. That's a desert country. You should have hydroponic farming. You should use your water for soil enhancement. In other words, the kind of people that run the country are ignorant of the necessities that would make life better for all people. They don't educate their people. They just use cities, and at 4 o'clock, everybody gets off. In Miami, Florida, there's a place called Key Biscayne, where you go to the beach weekends. It's jammed with people. Now think about this. If you had 1/7 of the people off every day of the week, you would never have any jams. Mm. You understand that? Mm-hmm. 1/7 of the people off every day of the week, you wouldn't have to build new freeways, new bridges. The whole thing is stupid. In other words, today you can't get on the highway and drive your car. At 4 o'clock or 4:30, it's jammed with cars. If you stagger the calendar, so 1/7 of the population is off every day of the week, you never have any crowding anymore. The answers are very simple. They always have been simple. But with stupidity and repetition, you don't have innovation.
Well, that's right, and also the refusal of obviously bringing anything that is in terms of change, and I guess the most difficult process for you guys is about the period of transition over to a system that you are suggesting. I mean, again, would it be necessary for a current system, if you will, to actually fall apart before this could be set up in that sense, or how do you view that? Is there any kind of transition that could be take place in a proper way? What do you think?
Unfortunately, people obviously are not intelligent enough to say what is the next phase of civilization. No established country ever looked forward and said, this is the next stage we must prepare people for. When people are prepared for change, both emotionally and intellectually, the change will be smooth. If you're not prepared for it, it's going to be pain. I'm sorry about this. I wish it were otherwise. People will suffer during the transition. It'll be very painful. The more you delay this type of information, the more painful the transition.
Unfortunately, the education and the values and the behavior that we get are given to us by the establishment. Those are the people who have made out well in this system and then try and freeze it as it is, to keep them in power and keep things as they are. So our books, our videos, our movies, our education, our television, our role models are all there to perpetuate this system for the benefit of those who are in, like the banks, the corporations, the military, and the industries. So we're not prepared for change emotionally or intellectually. So it's going to be very difficult. It's going to have to hit them in the face lose confidence in their leaders, as I mentioned, lose their jobs, and even lose their homes in some places, sometimes before they look around and say, what's going on? This isn't working. And unfortunately, those people will be hit the hardest because they're not prepared.
Yeah,
That's why we have to get this direction out there as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and I guess also, again, I guess I want to ask you how you would go about implementing something like this. I know that, again, that this is on a level of ideas, obviously. As you mentioned, you want to put this into a movie format and a film format so people can see for themselves and get an idea if they like this or not in that sense. But again, we're talking about a system here which is very locked. I mean, I consider it to be a kind of a mob, actually, a mafia that has taken over things and are ruling pretty much the planet at this point. And obviously those people won't fall out quickly and give them their power away to somebody who just comes along with new ideas. This will, I think, will be more difficult than that. But where do you see your power lies in that sense? Do you think that this will have to be something that comes from the ground and up, that you present your ideas to the people out there and the power must come from their point of view, that they say, okay, this sounds like a good idea. Let's try it out. I'm willing to, let's say, live in one of these cities somewhere. Is that how you view this? Or do you see that panning out in any other way, Jacque or Roxanne?
No, I don't see it in any other way. I see that you have to make films, videos, television shows showing what the Venus Project is. In other words, when Edison invented the electric light, he had to explain it to the gas companies. They didn't know what it was. When Henry Ford built the automobile without the horses in front, he had to explain what a motor is, what transmission is, and people had to learn. When you go to the Arab world today, you'll see the Arabs dressed in the old clothing, but they all have cell phones, which is amazing. And they're going to have to teach their kids how to service cell phones. They have laptops and computers. They're going to have to teach their kids science and electronics. So there's no escape from the future. There are no roads to yesterday. You're going to have to educate people. There's no other way. You can't twist their arm or send military people in to bring a new society in. That's not the way to do it. Education is a little slower and much safer and healthier for people. So we're going to make a lot of films that answer almost all the questions people might ask.
We think films is the quickest way to get to people.
Millions.
And it's not somebody just talking. They can really understand the direction of the future and see what it's like.
From your own point of view, are there any question marks or points that are unclear in terms of the I guess the holistic system that you're trying to develop here? Is there anything unknown or things that you feel we don't know how to actually fix this or solve this?
Yes, there are. All the nations are building atomic weapons, most of the nations. And you want to know why North Korea and China is building rockets. A lot of people say, why are they building these terrible weapons? We have to arm. The United States has enough nuclear weapons to flatten out the Earth 50 times. What are you going to accomplish with that? We have 300 submarines. Each one has more destructive power than all the wars in history. What are you going to win with that? They built a place for senators under a mountain, and there's 6 months food supply there. What do you come out to? A radioactive world? How stupid can you be? Don't you see that we eventually have to take care of the earth and all nations and all people? As long as you have separate nations, and few nations control most of the earth's resources, you're going to have trouble. Territorial disputes, invasions, because people do not have access to the necessities of life. I'm not a moralist. I'm just saying that these are the laws of nature. All man-made laws are artificial. They're designed to control people. The only laws that count is natural law. If you don't get enough sleep, nutritious food, you get sick. These are the laws we have to learn.
I think that nationalism has been another level of this cultural programming, if you will, and a lot of people still cling on to that. I'm particularly not a nationalist myself in that sense. I understand at that time in history understand maybe why a nation as such developed and the necessity for that. But obviously, again, many people, that's also something that they still latch on to, and obviously what we're being. Oh, sorry, I just want to finish that. What we're being offered today with this with the European unions and things like that is not better either. And